It's gonna be like a Garth Brooks concert, except without the racism.
Thank God. For fuck's sake. Do you want to do your prank? Are you pranked up? Are you ready to get all pranky?
I mean, I can talk about the prank, but it's not done. I severely underestimated how much work this is going to be.
Okay.
Holy shit! But I think I can move it. I think I can pick it up, and it'll still be back. Hold on.
So keep in mind, folks, while Mike gets this ready, he DM'd me probably in the middle of the night or something. Just, I have an idea, and that's how these things usually start. And it escalated further to him sending me photos of an NES, which has been disrespected. Might be the best way to describe it. I'm not sure.
Come again?
I was going to say you've almost beaten up this NES a little bit to get where you're going. You've had to bruise it.
Yeah, it's taken its lumps, I think it's fair to say. So a buddy of mine gave me a box of stuff that he wanted me to go through, see what was in working condition, see if I could repair what wasn't in working condition, get it all back to normal. In this box was an original Nintendo, which I have gotten up and running, boots every time, which is
that's a miracle.
That's actually easy to do. It's all the pain and like suffering. If you had an original Nintendo of like, you know, blowing in your cartridges, putting a little piece of cardboard to make sure the cartridge is in just right, it was all
licking the contacts to make sure they're clean.
Yeah, it was all peeing on it. It was all easy to fix with just like minimal tools, and just pop this thing open, and it's good to go. But that aside, I got it working, but I'm like, I also have a couple of Nintendos laying around that I'm not really doing much with. What could I do? I wanted to give him one of my Nintendos masquerading as his, and play a little prank on him. So a buddy of mine, TJ, gave me the idea. I do a lot of Game Boy Advance mods, and he gave me the idea of like, oh, what if you like soldered like the worst Game Boy Advance game into the cartridge slot, so that like that was the only game you could ever play on that Game Boy Advance. So like the Strawberry Shortcake GBA video cartridge, like, or something like that, where you just can't get it out. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny, but I would want to save that idea for the right moment, and I think I found it. So I took one of my original Nintendos, and I went online, I went on the internet, and I ordered a copy of Bible Adventures, which is an unlicensed cartridge. It's basically a collection of an anthology of Bible games. You've got Noah's Ark, you've got Baby Moses, and then you've got David and Goliath, and all three of them involve picking up animals and depositing them in a receptacle.
The Holy Animal Box.
So what I'm in the process of doing is I took out the cartridge, I took out the circuit board from that cartridge, and I am wiring it in to the Nintendo, so that no matter what game you put into this Nintendo, it will only play Bible Adventures. That's all it's gonna do. And I've carved out a little spot for the cartridge to sit underneath the board, so it'll be hidden and out of sight. The thing about the NES cartridge, hold on a second. Is it's so you've got like this is like the way the board sits in your NES, and it's got this is the cartridge adapter. It slides onto these pins, and this doesn't have any electronics in it. It's basically just like these pins go straight to these pins. So the first thing I tried to do was I was like, well, I'm gonna just like, I took a Dremel and just cut out these. These are really easy to get replacements for, and they're really cheap. So I'm not ruining anything by doing this. Everything that I'm doing to this system, I can easily undo. I'm not in the business of like cannibalizing retro hardware that's in limited supply. I really,
Fair enough.
yeah. If I can keep it stock, or if I can keep it like as close to as possible, I like to do that.
Mhm.
But anyway, I took this and I was like, well, I'll just solder directly to the pins. That ended up being difficult to do, mostly because I have to get too close to this plastic, and the plastic starts melting. So I'm like, well, I'll just solder directly to the NES, and what I'll do is I'll cut this part out, so I can have all the wires go in. The reason I still need this is because it has to feel like when you put the cartridge in, it has to feel like you're actually putting the cartridge into a slot. If I took this piece out entirely, you could slide it in there, but you would never feel those pins making contact, and you would know immediately that something's up.
Right. You need the chunk noise, for lack of a better way to put it.
So it's got screw holes here. So for stability, I don't actually need any of this part. So I'm just going to cut all this out and just leave the top part and these screw holes in, so that he can still go into this slot, and push the cartridge down. I will put a different board, PCB for like a game that I don't care about, into here, so that it still has the circuit board here. And the reason I have to do that is so that when I go to show it to him that it works, I got to be like, here, let me put in a game, and it's going to work. And I'm putting in Bible Adventures, so he doesn't think anything's up when Bible Adventures boots up. And then I take it out, and I'm like, cool, you're good to go. Have fun. And he takes it home, and he tries to play Duck Hunt or some shit. It's not gonna be Duck Hunt. He's only got an LCD, but he's gonna boot it up, and it's still gonna be Bible Adventures. And then he's gonna call me and be like, "That's weird, man."
Every cartridge will be Bible Adventures. Every cartridge.
Yeah. Because as far as the system is concerned, that's what's plugged in.
Okay, so I was telling Mike that the best route here is that he should be going from town to town in like a pinstripe suit or something, and showing off his magical Bible machine. And no matter what you do, you put an NES cartridge in that, and it comes out a Bible game.
Yes.
And that way, if you see Mike Bachmann coming to your town with a road show or a caravan or a large wagon, you're gonna get fleeced. But you're gonna have fun.
What's like the NES version of Music Man?
Where you're walking through the town with like I don't know, Bluetooth NES controllers, and everyone's gonna have such a great time. You can come here and you can play with my multi-tap. You can come play with my Sega CD. Everyone's gonna have a great time.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Well, you know what? Actually, let me show you another thing too. I'm gonna grab my multimeter here, and I'll show you why this is taking so fucking long to do. So, it's a couple of reasons that this is taking me a long time. One of which is that these, like, I don't know what these are. They're not copper, like the actual pins on the NES board. So solder doesn't stick to them super well. I can get it to stick after a fashion, because like the easiest thing to do would just be like, well, this is how the pins line up. Just solder 1 to 1, do short wires back and forth. But since they don't solder on there very well, what I've had to do instead is find a better point on the board to solder to, and I've done that by like, there's all these different solder points, and just finding out which one, using a multimeter to test continuity, finding out which one maps to each individual pin. So it's like oh, here's pin number 2, and then going through and trying to find. I'll do one that actually I know where it is. Yeah, see, this is a nightmare. I already can't find one.
So basically, this is a long-term project, basically used to exclusively made to troll people. Basically, like you're putting hours of work into this.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So I've got like this. I've got like one pin here, and I found like the other solder point where it goes into, and I just I attach my wire directly there.
Oh my god!
And I don't know if this is gonna work too, because like there's some solder points where there's like something, like. So like you've got a trace, you've got like the pin on the edge of the board, and you got a trace, and then it hooks up to a pin on a chip, but that same trace then runs to another solder point, and I'm using that solder point. So whereas in like the cartridge would normally connect before it hits that pin, it's connecting after. But my thought is like it just all has to be on the same bus, right? I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think so.
So I'm hoping as long as it's not like, oh, here's a resistor and I'm soldering to the opposite side of the resistor, like, or something like that, it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be. We'll fucking see. Who knows? It might be that I do all this for nothing.
Which would be great too. I mean, that's like that's a prank on yourself. But
it's all never who's going to be Ashton Kutcher in this case. That's what we got to find out.
I've never had to go to this amount of work to ever do anything with my console. It's seriously impressive that you're dedicated to a troll at that level.
Oh my god, it's I don't know that I am, but the problem is I've told people I'm going to do it now. So now I can't just quit.
That's
I would
true.
love to quit. There's almost nothing I love more.
But now you have to.
Yeah.
For unknown reasons that you don't want to get into.
Listen, I spent $17 on a copy of Bible Adventures. It's more than time.
Yeah, but you got that sweet cartridge now, that black case.
Yeah. I mean, the Telltale unlicensed. There's no Nintendo seal of quality on this, folks.
Oh no, it's either that or I think they're like baby blue out in the wilderness. All those Bible games.
Do not store in extreme temperatures. That's unfortunate because this game